welcome. I'm Vanelli. Now, for this coffee break episode, our topic is going to be on how to enhance just one eye, how to make one eye larger than the other. And typically we'll do this when the subject, when they have an eye that's noticeably smaller, all right? Now, keep in mind, yes, we should embrace our imperfections, because our imperfections is what gives us our character. So in a case where, hello, Julie, I'm so sorry. Let me just say hello to a few people coming in. Hello, Russell. There he is. One more. Russ, sorry. There we are. All right. So anyways, we should embrace our imperfections because that's what gives us our character. I know my nose is rather large. So if I go to one of those, what do you call it? The characters, the guy that's a street performer, and they're doing my character, I know they're going to make my nose look huge and my shoulders and my chest look huge. They've always done that. And that's part of my character, so I embrace it. Some people may feel a little self-conscious, if they have, let's say, one eye smaller than the other. Fortunately, the subject we're going to work with today is Erica. She isn't self-conscious of it. She's aware of it, and she knows that her left eye is slightly smaller than her right eye. So before we get into a few other topics on this, I do want to show you one thing real quick. So here's Erica. Notice her eye is just slightly smaller, her left eye is slightly smaller than her right eye. Well, here's what we're going to do. I turn her where her left eye is now closest to the camera. Because if her left eye is closest to the camera, well, then that means it's going to appear a little bit bigger than the back eye. So Erica knows, after all these years working with her, she knows that when she's posing, she'll either look straight onto the camera here to where her left eye will appear similar in size, or she'll turn to where her left eye is completely in front of the camera. She knows enough never to turn completely sideways because then her eye is definitely going to look a lot smaller. So that's how, as photographers, we're going to fix it while we're taking the photo shoot. If there's an imperfection, let's say one eye is smaller than the other, bring the smallest eye closer to the camera, that fixes it. In a case like myself, where I do have a rather large nose, if I turn to the side and I let my nose break my cheek, like right now, notice, you see my nose, you see my cheek. If I turn more to a profile, then my nose is going to look huge. So these are things we could fix before the photo shoot. Now, before we begin, let's just hear a quick message from Fuji. We want to thank you for being our partner. That was Fuji reminding us to stay safe and stay at home and be creative. Now, they have two ebooks that just came out. The first ebook we talked about was on portraits. This ebook is on 6 speed lighting techniques to create better photos. So the bit.ly is down on the bottom. So you can check out that bit.ly link and then click on it and then get your own ebook. And then from there, chances are probably next week or so, I'll look over the ebook and I'll come up with some of the tricks and tips that they give. I'll go out and actually videotape myself doing it, and we'll see if we can bring it on air. All right? So with that said, let's begin. Now, here we are with the beautiful Erica. Yes, her left eye is slightly smaller than her right eye. So if, for whatever reason, we couldn't get her to switch, here's how we're going to fix this inside Luminar. Ready? First thing I want to do, of course, is let's just develop the image. So working with the essential tools, my favorite, AI accent, good. Now structure, we have a decision to make. I could bring out more structure in the background or make it really blurry, but honestly, I like what I did. So I like how I captured it in camera. Color is fine. I do want to put a little vignette on it. So I'm going to choose Erica. There we go. Nothing too drastic. That's good. All right. Got it. Now, the colors, wasn't too happy with the colors here. I even did my own little trick where I came in using from the light tool, and I promised I was going to slow down so people could see, people can see what tools I'm actually using. I was told that I had 2 speeds, fast and warp speed. So here's what we're going to do. Under the essential tools, I'll click on light, click on the eyedropper tool, and I'm going to click on the white of her eye. All right, so that helped with the tint and a little bit of the color toning, but not a whole lot. This was a tricky image because I do have a little bit of color cast because of the greens. So I did this trick last night, or I found this trick last night because of Richard Harrington. If I come to the color enhancer, from here, brilliance and warmth, I'm going to dial it in just a bit. Look at that. Now, they gave me the skin tones I would rather look that I wanted to see. There we go. And a little contrast. That's a little too much. I'm going to go back to where I was here. There we go. All right. So before and after. Already everything is looking pretty good. I'm going to come back up here and I want to make the blacks just a little bit richer. There we go. All right. So we got all this stuff out of the way. And last, of course, since this is a portrait, we might as well quickly enhance the skin, remove any blemishes. And then with the portrait enhancer, you know how I really, really like to enhance her eyes and remove dark circles. All right. Last, maybe her eyebrows. All right. So now I could have done this ahead of time, but I wanted to show you how I start out. I'm going to come back up in here again. And let's see if I can bring back, there we go, some of her skin tone and texture with the highlights. All right. Oh, was it Dave? Hello, Dave. Somebody was asking me to slow down. I'm not sure if it was David. So I'm hoping I accomplish it for you. So here we are. I am going to come back to color because this green is kind of killing me. So let's desaturate the whole scene a little bit, but let's really focus on the green. There we go. All right, I like that. Oh, much better. All right, before and after, we're set. Now let's fix that eye. All right, now notice we're on the base layer. And you did see I did use the portrait enhancer. I could have enlarged the eyes here, but then both eyes would get enlarged. Well, that's not what we want. I just want one eye to be enlarged. So what I have to do is come up here to the layers palette, or layers tools, and I have to create a stamp layer. Now the stamp layer is going to do what we did before. Oh, that's right, Dak, you were the one asking for this. So the stamp layer, what it's going to do for me is it copied all of the settings underneath that was on the first layer, and I made a duplicate of it on the top layer. Now, this is where I'm going to enhance the eye. So I'm going to come down to the portrait tools, and with portrait enhancer, I'm going to enlarge the eye. Erica, I'm sorry. I'm doing this just to prove a point to make sure the eyes are being enlarged, and I'm doing it because it just looks cool and funny. So Erica, I apologize. So here we are. We got this set. Now, I don't want to edit the mask here. What I'd rather do is come back up to my layers, and I want to edit the mask at the layer point. So I want to brush. I want to paint in the effect just on this eye, leaving this eye alone. So let's paint at 100% opacity. There we go. And I'll click the visibility icon just so you can see that I erased just that area. So now I'll go back to my portrait tools. Here's the eyes. So look at that, because this is what we started with. So now doesn't it look smaller? And this is where we're going to gradually bring it to match the eye. Right about here. And right about there. That looks good. And it's best to turn it on and off. Good, just so I can see each time. There it is. Good. And it's set. So if I come back to the very bottom layer, as you can see, we have all the effects applied to this. If I wanted to add more effects, I'll show you, I went a little overboard on the masking, but watch what I'm going to do. I want to come to the Pro Tools, and let's add a little more contrast. So now in the skin, there we go, I added more contrast. Now, you should be able to see what's about to happen. When I go back up to this next layer, because I went overboard on the mask, watch what's going to happen. You'll see blotches. So let's edit the mask again. And this time, let's erase at 100% opacity. All right. So now the skin looks good. Now let's go back in and paint just on the eye here. That's what I should have done earlier. There we go. There. So now any changes I made are being applied on that bottom layer all the way up through. So before and after. One more time. Ready? Before and after. And I'll just do just the eye now. So here's that stamp layer. Turn it on and off. Here's off. And there's on. So just that one eye was replaced. I mean, how cool is that? So to recap, we used the base layer to make all of our changes, made the eyes look the way we wanted them, except we didn't enlarge the eye. Created a stamp layer, and on that stamp layer, that's when we made both eyes look huge, but we used a layer mask to paint in only the left eye. Now, if you look in the description, there is a written tutorial on this at photofocus.com, and you can just click on the description in there. You'll see where it says the written version is the full version. So, yes, so Dak, like we said earlier, he says he has students with several of the models. Remember, if the model is aware of it, I've done this before, when a person has a lazy eye, when they're focusing too long, the eye starts to turn. And I accidentally made a comment to a mother. The girl was 18, but I said to the mother, I said, oh yeah, I said something about her lazy. Oh, I said, yeah, what I like about this shot is we got her lazy eye to be straight. And the mother said, what lazy eye? And I realized, oh my God, the mother never realized the kid had a lazy eye. And the reason for that, as photographers, you have them staring. Well, if they start to stare too long and that eye starts to drift, it's a lazy eye. to correct that is close your eyes. Good. When I say action, open your eyes. Action. Boom. Now, once they open their eyes, the eye focuses. It doesn't have time to drift. So that's another imperfection that we could fix very easily. All right? So, good. Okay, so is the stamp layer what others might call merge? Yeah, so, and that's what you're actually doing. You're absolutely right. You're merging, well, actually you're duplicating, you're merging all of the tools on that bottom layer. So you're merging the tools and then duplicating or creating a brand new layer, but you won't have access to those tools. So yes, merging is a good way, a good term to use. Just know that you're merging all of those tools together and combining them onto just one layer. All right? Yes. and that's the key. Dak is right. So many times you don't even see it until you're looking through the lens. Speaking of that, let me check my time. And guys, I'm so sorry. I'm going to go off on a tangent just a little bit. If you were watching Coffee Break earlier this morning, right on cue, the doorbell rings and Alexa says, "Ding, someone's at the front door." I ran a quick commercial of that little Fuji break. My buddy opened the door, and it was UPS delivering the new Fuji camera, which is the XT3 and 3 lenses. So Fuji was gracious enough to send me these. I'm not keeping them. They want me to have them for a few weeks to go out and shoot and play and see what I can create. My buddy Richie Acevedo earlier this weekend, we did a whole photo shoot of Erica. He shot with Fuji. I shot with my Nikon D810. And I wanted to get some images that he shot from Fuji and just compare them. So Fuji sent this. I'm going to experiment with them. One thing I will say, by the way, I'm a sports shooter, and usually the collar, I usually take the collar off because I don't put it on a tripod. If you keep the collar on, which you should, because I think I lost mine, when you're shooting, just unloosen the collar, rotate it to the top, and lock it down. So now the collar is on top. Now my hand fits comfortable underneath. God, this is a small camera. My hand's underneath. Actually, now that I'm looking at the camera, I feel like I have Shrek hands. Like I have these huge, monstrous hands. I bet you the battery grip here would actually, the battery grip will make it feel more comfortable for me. But anyways, I have it here, and I can start shooting, and then I use this as a handle while walking through the field. So again, as a sports shooter, this is the way, if I have the collar on, this is where I put it. All right? So I just wanted to go off a little bit on that because all day I could not open up this box, and we received this at, 11:05. 11:05 this morning, and here we are at 5:30. I couldn't open that box. I felt like a little kid at Christmas that wasn't allowed to open up any presents. So I'm glad I got to open it up and share that with you guys here. So yes, it is mirrorless. So it is a mirrorless camera. And I just did a real quick test without anything in it. And I photographed the plant behind me, and I put it on high speed, and it must have shot something like 20 frames a second. I'll find out the exact numbers, but I just barely touched it, and it just ripped through a bunch of frames. So we'll see from there. Imagine Shrek hands on the Sigma. So anyways, well guys, hey, it was great. It was fun to have you guys here today. Please put the comments like Dak did in here, and then we'll be able to use those suggestions for future topics. Well, I'm Vanelli. Thanks again so much for joining us on this coffee break. Oh, I'm sorry. Don't forget. One more thing. Again, don't forget to sign up and get your new ebook from Fuji. Again, there's the bit.ly link enter your information in and we'll take care of it. So, hey, thank you so much.